Detroit Lions fans, welcome back in. Steve and Will, your go-to source for entertainment, knowledge, maybe dumb knowledge, maybe smart knowledge, however you view us. I don't know, but stick around. Listen, before we get into today, Will, we have this person is asked to remain anonymous. We'll call it a donor. We'll call him a donor that is graciously, out of the kindness of his heart, given me enough money to buy a Detroit Lions jersey if we hit 10,000 subscribers. I have the money. I'm going to get the jersey this weekend. The quicker we get to 10,000, the quicker we'll give the jersey away. I don't currently have it yet. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Drop it in the comments. Whatever jersey gets the most votes is the one I will go and get this weekend. You can vote Aiden Hutchinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. If you want a Jared Goff, I will try my absolute best to get the jersey that you guys choose. So quicker we hit 10,000, quicker we'll give that jersey away, maybe a couple gift cards. And again, thank you to our friend who watches this show regularly. It's much appreciated. Thank you. I already talked to him. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to have that kind of support. It's awesome to see. I can't wait to give this jersey away. You know what? I'm thinking I'm leading toward Aiden Hutchinson. So we haven't done a Hutch jersey. I'm going to try to get my hands on a black one, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe. The faster we get there, we're going to give it away. Will?
Steve.
Go ahead. William.
Before you go on, I haven't even got a chance to tell you this yet because I was kind of waiting to get more of the details on it. But it's funny that you mentioned that because I swear, hand to God, somebody that has also been a day one, just loyal subscriber, follower to the podcast, man, has also said that they wanted to give a couple $100 gift cards to the same cause. So, not really sure. We haven't talked to the details how we're going to make it happen, but I'm assuming it'll probably be Fanatics. So we'll iron out those details. So there's going to be things. And with that said, we're still going to do our thing on the side of that. So not to turn this into a promotional thing, but I just wanted you to know that too.
Subscribe. That's all you guys got to do is subscribe. You could have a chance to win some free stuff. We do it on live shows. We'll promote it. Me and Will sit down. We'll carve out an hour and a half where we can get together and carve out some time to go live. We'll do some Q&A. We'll do a little fan roundup, a questionnaire, whatever you guys want to call it. We'll give away some stuff. Last time we'll give away it's almost $800 worth of Lions stuff. Okay, $800 worth of Lion gear. I'll tell you what. Find me another Detroit Lions podcast that does that. Will, what are we talking tonight?
Listen, today we're going to, I guess we could call it part two. Like we said, we're going to go through these position groups and we're going to talk about, do we have what we need to be successful in the 2025-2026 season? So today we're going to talk about the tight ends and the receivers. We're going to look through those things. We're going to look through the contracts. We're going to look through the personnel, who's free agents, who's coming back. And we're going to say, do we have enough? Or don't we? And if we don't have enough, we're going to say, hey, are there some guys out there in free agency? Or is there somebody out there in the draft that maybe we got our eye on? We're not going to draft any draft names yet, Steve, because we said after the Super Bowl, then we'll just start dropping some names. But if you got somebody in the back of your mind, you can go ahead and say, man, I got a guy I'm sitting in my pocket with that maybe could help us out in this situation. So that being said, I'll go ahead and throw the graphic up here. When we're talking receivers and we're talking tight ends, and again, I'll talk through this thing. If you're looking at it on your cell phone or a tablet where the imaging is small, for starting with the tight ends, we have coming back Sam LaPorta. Sam LaPorta, we got him for another 2 seasons, right? Brock Wright, also under contract through the 2026 season, and then restricted free agent who was he's playing some decent football for a reserve. Shane Zylstra. So tight end position starting there. Shane Zylstra, restricted free agent. Steve, you re-signing him?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Will. All right, I'm probably leaning towards not. Okay, I think he's a fantastic role player. I think what he does for the team is very much unnoticed. I've noticed some things mainly in the blocking. There was a play. I think it was against Washington. If it wasn't against Washington, it was definitely that Minnesota game where he was lined up out wide and he had a key block on a touchdown. Stuff like that does not go unnoticed. All right. I like Shane Zylstra, but I think that's just if I'm talking tight end 3, we're kind of splitting hairs, but I think that is an upgradable position. And I only say that because you and I have talked off air about a potential path to one of my plans. And it's a nice one that we both like, but some other things have to happen. So I see it as a potential for an upgrade there, and I got a player in mind in the draft. But I just look at St. Julstra for what he is. He's a role player. All right. And when it comes to
Yeah.
production, we're not getting a whole lot of production. When it comes to stats, catches, receiving yards, touchdowns, all that. I just view his position and his role on this team as something that could be upgraded. And wherever it happens, if the Lions move on for him, wish him nothing but the best. He's been a Lion for the last few years. But I think we could get a little bit better at that position.
Yeah. I don't think that we need to get better. I don't think that we need to. Could we? Is there a path for somebody potentially maybe in that draft that could end up in our lap, that depending on what we do in free agency? I definitely could see that too, and that could be something that would excite me a little bit. But nonetheless, really trying to focus on through this these parts of going through these groups is, do we need something? No, man. I'm looking at Sam LaGota. I apologize. And he had a down, yeah, he had a down year in 2024 and compared to 2023. When I'm looking at the stats of 2023, the breakout rookie year, where it looked like he was going to be kind of just taking over the tight end position for the NFL, he had 86 receptions, dang near 1,000 yards, right? Just 900 yards, 10 TDs, right? So that for a rookie tight end, those are monster numbers. He ended that season with a banged up knee, right? And I going through the offseason, knee banged up, just wasn't right. It didn't seem like he came into the 2024-2025 season just full throttle ever. It just seemed like he was always banged up, had a down year, but he was still very productive. Let's not get it twisted. So he had a down year in comparison to the phenomenal rookie season that he had. But this season, he had 60 receptions, 726 yards, and 7 TDs. I thought that he started to get back into his old form towards the end of the season. It looked like he was starting to get back into the flow of things. Dude had a freaking arm brace on most of the season. He looked like he wasn't as explosive as he was the season before. He just didn't look like himself. So in the 2025-26 season, I'm really expecting him to get back to that rookie season and show really why they drafted him like they did, man. So Steve, Sam LaPorta, is that something that you're worried about? Is that part of the reason why you think that we need to upgrade the position potentially, or do you just think Sam LaPorta will be just fine?
No, Sam's going to be fine. Sam LaPorta is the one tight end on this team I have nothing but confidence in. Even in a down year, and I say a down year, 750 some yards and 7 touchdowns, that's still productive for a tight end. It's still very productive. And we even talked about it. I think it was the first quarter of the season. I can't remember exactly what week it was, but we just said, Sam and Jared just kind of look off. Like the timing's not really there. He missed some time during training camp. He was getting rehabbed. He had that knee injury where it looked like he tore his knee last year late in the season, and he had to come back with a monster brace and really could barely run in a straight line. So I think that did carry over into the preseason and training camp. So I'm not worried about Sam LaPorta, because even when he was banged up, he was still productive. And later in the season is when he started to really catch fire. I think he started to feel a little bit better, a little bit more confident. I will never be worried about Sam LaPorta. I know what he brings. I think he had one of the best rookie tight end seasons of my recent memory. I mean, we could probably go back to some of the old heads here and go back to like the Dick Butkus days type thing. But yeah, I'm never going to be worried about Sam. I know what he can do. I know what he's capable of. He's a young player, still only going into year 3, still figuring it out. I'm not worried about the tight end position at all, William. Yeah. So I think Sam's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I roll with it too, man. I truly believe that. And this is just me. It would have to be a perfect free agency for me to even be looking towards anything happening in a draft. So I don't want people to think that that's what I'm hanging my hat on. I'm perfectly okay with coming back into the season with those 3 tight ends. Resign Zylstra, give me Brock Wright and Sam LaPorta, and we can keep this thing popping just like the offense was popping 33 and some change last season. I think nothing changes with that group. But getting back into this thing to the second half of the group that we were talking about, and we're getting into these receivers. So looking at that receivers group, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know that he got that big time money this offseason, or this season. It was during the season, so got that big time money. Jameson Williams, he'll still be under contract. Khalif Raymond has one more season, and then we're not even going to get into the names below that, other than of course TK85 will be back. Steve, I know you were a little worried.
Lifetime line, baby. Lifetime
I
line.
I know you were a little worried. TK85 will be just fine. But to me, the big name on there is Timothy Patrick. Timothy Patrick is an unrestricted free agent just out there for the market. Steve, is it a priority for you to get Timothy Patrick back in the Honolulu Blue?
It's not a top priority. It's not my number one. It's not even my top 5 probably. But if it happens, I'll be okay with it. If it doesn't, I look at it as Brad's going to go out and probably get Jared another toy. All right. If that's in the draft, if it's in free agency, there's a handful of names I like. Just looking at some free agents, the one that really stuck out to me is I'm not going big. I'm not going all out. All right. If T. Higgins becomes a free agent, I know that's probably not going to happen with his contract. But I could see someone like a DeAndre Hopkins coming here. I think if D-Hop goes out and wins a Super Bowl here on Sunday, I think maybe he might come to the Detroit Lions if they don't try to re-sign him. I don't have to get big. I don't have to get flashy. Tim Patrick, I like him. I like him for what he's worth. He's a number 3 receiver, number 4, whatever you want to call it. The battle with him and Cleve Raymond for that, whatever you want to call it, number 3, it doesn't matter to me. It's not my top priority. And again, it's not my top 5. I'm good if it happens. If it doesn't, I'm curious to see what route Brad goes. Is he going to go free agency? Is there someone in one of the later rounds in the draft that he has an eye on? But no, Tim Patrick is not my top priority. And again, our offense is one of the best in the league. I think if we took Tim Patrick away, we were still going to be the best offense in the league. So I'm not really worried about him, regardless if he stays or if he goes from a production standpoint. He's a nice piece. I think he had some decent games for what he does on this offense. I don't think he's he's never going to be a 90 catches and 1,200 yard type receiver. He is what he is. He's a big body. He's a threat. He can he can demand a double team. He can make some contested catches, which is something I think we don't really have on this team, is someone who can catch a contested deep ball. Tim Patrick's probably the only one, but he's not my top priority. William, is he yours?
So I did really, really, really want Tim Patrick back, and I still want him back. I don't want to say that I don't, but after watching the film, and I watched every reception today, I kind of got into the thought process of maybe he wasn't as good as I felt like he was in the moments, right? After watching the film, he wasn't bad. Let's not get that twisted. He was exactly what we needed him to be. But when we're just talking about the numbers alone, 33 receptions, 394 yards, and 3 TDs. I don't know why I felt like he had 6-7 TDs. Maybe because he had that one big game.
He had one game or two, I think.
Yeah, so he had the one big game where he doubled down, and I just felt like the stats were bigger than they actually were. So again, 33 receptions, 394 yards, and 3 TDs. Is that the type of production that we can replace? For sure it is. For sure. And then when I looked at what he was doing as far as route running, he wasn't even going vertically down the field. Most of the routes that I was seeing him run were little short ends, slants, and then a lot of digs. He caught a lot of dig balls from Jared Goff. So when I think about that, can we find somebody else that could do that? We definitely could. Do I like Timothy Patrick? I like him a lot. I feel like he fit right into the locker room. I felt like he had a great story. He finished the season healthy, which is something that, injuries, the injury bug, as he's something that he's been battling with his whole career. So that excites me too, man. But I'm not too pressed on whether we sign him or don't sign him, man. If we don't sign him, I think that there is a couple of guys out there who could maybe push the needle just a little bit. And there is a few guys in the draft who maybe, you get later on in the draft who could really be kind of boom or bust guys. They could get you that type of production, or they could be breakout guys, kind of like similar. Now, I'm not going to say Amon-Ra St. Brown, but guys that, turn into more productive starters in this league. So, but while we're on the subject of guys who I wouldn't mind taking a look at that are free agents, one that pops into my mind that we talked about last year is Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, free agent, was with the Tennessee Titans this year, 1-year deal. Now he's a free agent. I feel like he's in the same price range as Timothy Patrick. His Tim Patrick's market value is right around $2 million, $1.7 million. Boyd's is 2.1. million. So I mean, they're right in that same price range. They're right around the same age. Tim Patrick 31, Tyler Boyd 30 years old. I feel like Tyler Boyd is a guy who's put up multiple 1,000-yard seasons, but his stats last year were very similar to Tim Patrick's. But when I watched the film, Tyler Boyd looked a little bit more explosive. He looked a little bit more dynamic. And my only issue with him was he wasn't an X a lot of the time. A lot of times he just played inside in the slot, but he was also spending a lot of that time with Hop and before he left and Calvin Ridley. So it's like maybe he was playing that position because he had dogs playing the other two spots. So I don't know, man. I really like Tyler Boyd, and if the money is similar, I wouldn't mind seeing Tyler Boyd coming into Detroit. That could be an upgrade. Steve, what you think about Tyler Boyd?
Why not? Like, I think he'd be an upgrade, and I'm not trying to dog on Timothy Patrick. I thought he played phenomenal for us. But let me ask you a question. We obviously have a new offensive coordinator in John Morton. He comes from the Denver Broncos. Timothy Patrick comes from the Denver Broncos. I know he was injured while John Morton was there, but it's still someone he's familiar with. Do you think that maybe the familiarity is something he wants to keep around with Jared Goff to give him a little bit of comfort and say, hey, man, maybe we could use Timothy Patrick in a different way? Do you think that the John Morton X factor could be real?
It could be, man. Relationships are real. When you got relationships, that's a real thing in any business. So I don't think it's any different in the NFL. The only difference is you got to be able to play the game. It don't matter what the relationship is if you can't perform on the field. I'm not going to say that Timothy can't perform because he did some good things out there on the football field last season, but he didn't do anything to jump off the screen at me either. So I think that's really what it's going to boil down to. Is there any guys available where we could upgrade the position? If it's even, then maybe those relationships matter a little bit more. But I just think there is potentials out there to maybe be able to upgrade the position a little bit. Not that we need to. We can be successful with what we got as well. So that answers your question.
No, I get it. And I think you're spot on. My next question is kind of with all these trade rumors, Will, like there's trade rumors all over the place, from Myles Garrett to Max Crosby to Cooper Kupp. I keep seeing a lot of people just throwing Jameson Williams' name out there for possible trade. And while we're talking wide receivers, Jameson Williams is a wide receiver. We know his track record. We know what he's capable of. We also know that he's going to probably want a couple dollar bills in his pocket here in the next couple seasons. Do you think it's likely that the Detroit Lions trade Jameson Williams?
I would say that nothing is off the table, but for me, I don't think that we can trade JMO right now because that changes our offense. Removing Tim Patrick from our offense doesn't change our offense. Removing JMO, our offense looks completely different. We turned into truly just grind it down the field, not really a super big threat to challenge you vertically or take it to the house in one play as far as the passing game goes if JMO isn't on this team. Right. JMO is a threat to score a touchdown every time he touches the football. We talked about it before. The ball gets in his hands. The balls get thrown in his direction. Everybody is holding their chair and gasping for air and waiting to see, hey, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? So, yeah, I don't think – I hear a lot of people tossing JMO's name around. I see it in the comments. I see it on Twitter. I'm not with it personally. I know he's had some off-the-field issues. I know that he finished the season – putting a bad taste in some people's mouths as he made love to Ford Field. But the bottom line is the dude's electric, man, and he's just a young dude trying to figure it out. But when it comes to this football stuff, man, he's got some special talents, and I think we need to either keep him in Detroit or you gotta get something special if you're gonna trade JMO. So no, I can't foresee JMO getting traded.
Yeah, I don't foresee it. But like you said, nothing's impossible. All right. Just looking at where JMO is at this point in his career, going into year 4, really only 1 year of solid production, some suspensions, some questionable stuff going on off the field, big money coming. I think that this is a weird position for his career right now because we just don't know. Are we going to extend him? Do we give this guy the money? Do we wait, see the 5th-year option, or do we trade him? I think that there's a plethora of options out there, and I don't know what Brad Holmes is leaning toward. I think he's probably leaning toward keeping him because, like you said, if you count all of the explosive touchdowns from this season, Jameson Williams probably had 80% of them. All right. When he touches the football, you hold your breath. You don't know. Is he going to the house? Is he going to hurdle someone? Is he going to juke somebody? Is he going to make a circus run? Like, is he going to take it for 99? You can't just say, I'm going to trade him and just be okay with it, because there's not many people in the NFL who can touch a football and make 70,000 people hold their breath and think possible touchdown. Not many people in the league have that kind of effect. He's still young. He was suspended 2 games this season, still got over 1,000 yards, still had what, 8 touchdowns, like touches the ball in the rushing game. You know, he's an ultimate diversion at the very, very least. You got to keep account of him. He doesn't touch the ball 8, 9, 10 games a game like St. Brown does, but when he does touch it, you better buckle up because something special might happen. Well, so I don't think he's going to be traded, but in my opinion, where he is in his career and what he's been through so far, I think he's in an awkward spot where the team might not know what to do with him. So I'm curious to see what happens, but I'm all for bringing J-Mo back personally. I'm not on the trade him for Myles Garrett and give up Hendon Hooker and J-Mo and 2 first-round picks. Like I'm saying, like I'm not on that train, Will. So I'd love to see J-Mo back.
I'll tell you who really wants J-Mo back. There's 2 people that come to mind. Hank Fraley, right? And that's probably a crazy one. People probably don't understand that one yet. Some do, some don't, right? And Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Because if J-Mo is around, safeties ain't in the box. I'm gonna let you know that right now. That's the bottom line. If you've ever watched all 22 or been at the Detroit Lions game watching those safeties, if J-Mo is out there, the safeties are bailing and running for their lives. It makes it a lot easier to run the football. So sometimes we got to think about this thing not just as what he can do when the football is in his hands. He affects every single football play that he's out there. If he goes in motion, guys are accounting for him. If he's running vertical, guys are accounting for him. And then he's a guy that's committed to playing football. And what do I mean by playing football? He's going to be meeting you in the run game, getting as physical as 100-pound guy can get, man, which is pretty physical when you see what he's out there doing, man. So, yeah, I need J-Mo back here. The only way that J-Mo, I could be okay with a J-Mo trade is if we got something crazy, man. It would have to be something absolutely bananas. So, yeah, I need
I'm
J-Mo.
with you. Anything else tonight?
Yeah, I got one more guy, man. One more receiver that I'm looking at that's kind of an outside the box guy. I think that he's very similar to a Tim Patrick, very similar to a Tyler Boyd, but I think that he's a little bit more similar to Tim Patrick because his build is similar. So my man, the Mac Hollins, man, he 6'4", 220, the barefoot wonder, right? I feel like he's got a little bit more juice in him than Timothy Patrick does as well, man. I feel like he's got a little bit more vertical threat in him. I feel like he's got a little bit more acceleration as well. But similar players again. And then when I look at the numbers, man, and I know that Josh Allen was loving the Mac man. So looking at the numbers, man, last season, and there was a lot of mouths to feed out there. 31 receptions, 378 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 if you count the postseason. So really 6 touchdowns on the season. The dude is committed to block and says he absolutely loves the block. So he would fit right in. He actually made a comment. I was doing some digging on him earlier, and he says, no block, no rock, man. So kind of, that's kind of our theme in Detroit, man. You ain't blocking, you ain't getting that rock. So I think he would fit right in from that aspect. Now he does do some crazy stuff, like he's coming in barefoot.
Yeah, I saw what he showed up in the AFC Championship game.
That's what I'm about to say. Like he'll sometimes he dresses like characters and does all that other stuff, man. But I mean, we got some guys that do some interesting things. I know my man Glasgow comes in dressed in goth stuff sometimes. So to each his own, man. Like to each his own. I'm not here to. I'm worried about how you play the game of football and are you a distraction. So long as you can come in, you fit into the locker room, you're not distracting guys from doing their business, and you're coming in and taking care of your business, I'm fine with it. And that's exactly who he seems like he is. His players all seem to love him, man, and enjoy him. He's even got a bunch of Buffalo Bills guys going barefoot now around practice and, around the stadium and stuff like that. So I think that he could be another guy, man. So if it's not Timothy Patrick, basically what I'm saying is I need an X that's around that same price range or on a rookie deal. That's the bottom line. I don't need anybody that's super crazy. I don't need a 1,000-yard guy. I don't need another guy that's going to be demanding the football. I don't need to trade for Cooper Kupp, who is on a 3-year $80 million deal right now, right? So I don't need to be trading for Cooper Kupp, who is on. I think he's got two years left, but I think he's a $20 million cap hit each season over the next 2 seasons. So no, I don't want to trade with him and have another $20 million situation that we're talking about. No, get me one of these $1-2 million guys that are going to make catches in tough moments, are going to be committed to doing what the team needs them to do. They're going to block so they can get the rock in certain moments. They're going to perform when their number's called, and they're going to be good locker room guys. That's what I need. So I threw a couple of guys out there, man, that I thought might fit that mold. The Mac man, Steve, would you be all right with him?
Yeah, I'm okay with him, but the only thing is there's no way Buffalo's letting him go. All right. Now, he's a fan favorite there. They absolutely love him in Buffalo, and it's tough times in Buffalo, man. They just have to accept the fact that they're not going to ever beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So they got to keep everything together that they can, plus try to add to it. So I don't see how they're going to let Matt Collins leave. I personally don't give two shits what Buffalo does. I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan. Actually, probably one of my least favorite fan bases that I've ever encountered, if I'm being honest with you. So I hope that Buffalo just absolutely falls into the Niagara Falls, if I'm being honest, Will, because I don't give two shits what happens to him. But if they let Matt Collins go, I'll welcome him into Detroit with open arms, and I think he'd become a fan favorite here because of his personality. But real quick, Cooper Kupp, guys, stop. Let's be real, okay? Well, let's just be real. You want to pay your number 3 wide receiver over $20 million a year because you're going to demand that he puts up number 1 receiver type stats, and that's just not going to happen. The minute he doesn't catch 90 balls a season and put up 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns, you're going to say, what are we spending money on Cooper Kupp for? His best years are behind him. He had a small window there for a couple seasons where he was dominant. And I mean, absolutely probably one of the best receivers in the league, especially in 2021 when he won the Triple Crown. Thank you, Cooper Kupp. You won me a fantasy football championship as well. Much appreciated. I'll never forget you. But your window for being that type of receiver, I think, is come and gone. If you come to Detroit to be wide receiver 3, well, we got a two-headed monster and running backs, and we just did a whole show on our weapons. Cooper Kupp would be a nice weapon. I ain't paying him $20 million to come here and be my 6th option, Will? Absolutely not, guys. Let's get real. Let's look at our team and then try to think of what this player is going to be, what his role will be. Let's not just lock into fantasy football and Madden and say, oh, man, Cooper Kupp and Jared Goff had a connection. They weren't that great when Jared Goff was in LA. So let's just put that to bed too, okay? They got to a Super Bowl, didn't win it, but they weren't an elite wide receiver and quarterback duo. People think like we were talking – these two were Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. Well, it couldn't be further from the truth. So I'm automatically out on Cooper Kupp. I just want to put that rumor to bed real quick. Anything else tonight?
Nope, that's it for me, man. I'm with you, man. No Cooper Kupp, man. If we're going to spend $20 million, we better be spending $20 million on making a trade for freaking Crosby or Myles Garrett. And I don't think that's going to happen. But if $20 million is going out the window, that's where that $20 million better be found with a very, very well-proven rush in Trey Hendricks. Hey, listen, not Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, or take that $20 million and make Steve and Will the official podcast of the Detroit Lions. $20 million is probably our starting number, so we could probably get something done. That's off the books, though. That doesn't count toward the salary cap. Guys, again, from the beginning of the episode, get us to 10,000. We're going to give away some awesome stuff, some jerseys, some gift cards. We're going to get our hands on some stuff. Stick around, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave some comments. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.